And wanted just to touch on that. Next article, very just briefly touching on this, is entitled Dow Theorist Richard Russell says sell everything, you won't recognize America by the end of the year. Now again, I'm not just saying this stuff so you panic. This is what a lot of people are saying. Now I'm not saying this is absolutely going to happen, totally dogmatic, but I sure am getting a lot of indication from a lot of high-level people that are involved in finance that this will be the case. Richard Russell, who is the famous writer of the Dow Theory Letters, has a chilling line in today's note. He says, quote, "Do your friends a favor. Tell them to batten down the hatches because there's a hard rain coming. Tell them to get out of debt." Well, that's biblical. Praise the Lord. Tell them to get out of debt and sell anything they can sell and they don't need in order to get liquid. So the reason he's saying this is because if things start to go down and get bad, if you're sitting on a whole bunch of assets like IRAs or 401ks or whatever, most likely you'll never see them again. You probably will never be able, or if and when the banks reopen, if there's a banking collapse. And I know there's people that say that's never going to happen and this type of thing, but I just don't know how you have a monetary system with nothing backing it like we've had essentially since 1968 when they totally took us off the silver standard. I don't see how you have a monetary system with nothing backing it and it just can continue forever and never implode. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Let's go further. In other words, sell what you can sell. Be in a position where you can, ideally, get out of there on a moment's notice. And if you have things like food and ways to purify water or make water, like the Eclo Blue machine that Alex Jones advocates, and I have one. You know, let me say something about that. I bought that thing, and I bought it before they came out with the new ones, and I use it. It's a pain. I'll say that. Now, I don't know. Maybe the new ones are a lot better. I've had other people tell me, I had one guy say that he sent his back. It was just too much of a pain to use. It's a lot of work, the first ones. And they still sell those, and they're like $999 now. They've come way down in price. I got mine right before the price dropped. Anyway, they work, but it's a lot of work to maintain them. It's not easy. And particularly on the older versions, the tolerances on those machines are extremely tight. In other words, in order to get the panels off and do this or do that, you have to have like the hand strength of a gorilla in order to do a lot of this stuff. I'm a pretty strong guy, and I mean, it's everything I can do to even work on the thing sometimes. You know, I mean, hey, if you're adept at strongman, all you women out there, if you go to your strongman competitions, if you go to the arm wrestling competition, you got a lot of good hand strength. I think you can handle it. But for those of you who are not involved in that, it can be pretty tough. So anyway, but the new machines they got coming out, I think the one they say right now, I don't know if it's 450 or 900 watts it costs of power to run it. The new machines are almost half that to run it, and yet they put out more water. So they must have made some big breakthrough with the new ones they've got out now. It's also another added stage of filtration. Maybe they figured out some of the problems with the first ones because they're tough. I wouldn't advise really getting one of the first ones unless, you know, if money's a super big issue. You can get one of those now for $999. The bottom line is that is a way that you can make water without having to rely on anyone. You have your own little water plant, and it basically takes the humidity out of the air and makes it into water. Okay? Again, you need to maintain the machine, clean it on a regular basis in order so that the water is nice and fresh. Okay? Because if you don't do that, the water will get bad. Trust me. I've had a year of tearing my hair out trying to keep this thing maintained, and I think I've got a pretty good system right now, but it's not that easy. But the bottom line is that is something that could literally sustain quite a few people. If you're in a desert, it's not as easy because the humidity's not there for it to pull out. Okay, but in any kind of normal humidity environment, you're going to be able to make quite a bit of water with this thing, and it could literally be something that would really save a lot of lives in a particular scenario or situation. But if we were to lose power, you got to have a way to power it as well. The new machines now they've got solar panels that you can power the machine. And I looked up there the other day, and the solar panels for my machine, because it's like kind of conflicting information. It says 450 watts and it says 900 watts. Solar panels to power the machine for the one I've got, for the one that's $999 up on their website, Eclo Blue. And you can go up to Alex Jones or go to Eclo Blue, and you'll see the ads for it. ECOLOBLUE, Ecolo Blue, as I believe it's spelled. The solar panels are like $6,000 to power my machine. I thought, well, that's reasonable. Where do I sign up? And then I went and I looked at the solar panels for the more expensive machine that just came out. That's like $300 or $400 more, and it's $4,000, so it's $2,000 less. Now, I think that's overpriced, personally, regarding solar. A lot of times people that sell solar, it's super overpriced. But the bottom line is it would be a way to power the machine if we didn't have power. And all I'm telling people is that whatever you can do, whatever the Lord leads you to do, and I'm not saying don't pray and fast about anything that I'm telling you to do, or suggesting you may do. I'm not telling you to do anything. But pray and fast about it, see what direction the Lord leads you. If you have the money, and He led you in that area, it's something you might want to think about. Because water, outside of oxygen, is like the main thing we need to live. Can't live that long without oxygen. Just try holding your breath. But water is the next thing that can become crucial. And these will be things that will be withheld from us when things get bad. That's why it's good if you have your own property to have a well, and have a well that is either powered by solar or something that you can hand pump. And then if the well water's bad, you want a way to kind of purify the water as well. Just things to think about. And I've got into a lot of these little different things over times past. I just wanted to touch upon this. Anyway, he says, this Dow Theorist, Richard Russell, going back to this article, tell them to get out of debt, sell anything they can and don't need in order to get liquid. Okay, again, he's saying get liquid, get water. You know, like I said, oh, just kidding, sorry. A little joke there. Anyway, tell them that Richard Russell says that by the end of this year they won't recognize this country. They'll retort, how the dickens does Russell know? And who told him? Now, I haven't had anybody retort to me lately, much less say, how in the dickens does Russell know, or who told him? That was like an expression my grandma used to use. You just don't hear that very much anymore. Anyway, how in the dickens does Russell know? Who told him? Tell them the stock market told him. The fact is, I've been seeing a deterioration in the stock markets ever since early April, and this is in the face of improving business news. Okay, so this is just what one Dow Theorist is saying, and something you might want to think about.